Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Martin, kitchen and bath designer, entrepreneur, artist, and creative soul behind the Kitchen and Bath Digest. This is a show where we weave soulful design into every space and redefine what it means to create with intention. Here we don't just create beautiful homes, we design from the heart, embracing both the practical and spiritual. By pressing play, you'll be joining a community that creates not just for function, but for a sense of sacred space and personal alignment. On this podcast, you will learn to merge the art of design with soulful living, turning every remodeling project into a journey of self-expression and holistic beauty. This isn't just about kitchens and bathrooms, it's about embracing design as a path to a richer, more beautiful life. So let's step into this sacred designer together and create spaces that resonate with your soul. Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. If you're new here, we're going to talk about the intersection of home and soul and how the spaces we create live that are never just aesthetic or functional, but they're about energy, intention, and transformation. I sit down with designers, organizers, healers, and space holders who understand our homes are mirrors. And when we shift our spaces, we shift our lives, whether you're remodeling your kitchen, or you're organizing your home, rearranging a closet, you're in the right place to believe that it's deeper than it actually looks. Today we're going to be exploring something many people feel but struggle to name, the way money, identity, and safety live in the body. I'm joined by Valentina White, a somatic money and identity mentor whose work helps people resolve money patterns to the nervous system rather than through the willpower or mindset alone. So what I deeply respect about Valentina's work is how she brings the gentleness and the honesty to the topic that we're often charged by with fear, shame, and urgency. She reminds us that our relationship with money is not a problem to fix, but a pattern shaped by safety, capacity, and lived experience. As a kitchen and bath designer, I see every day how our environments affect our regulation, our trust, and our daily rhythm. And Valentina's work invites us to look inward to understand how safety inside the body shapes the choices we make outside of it, including how we live, spend, and feel in our home and in our lives. So thank you so much for being here, Valentina. I'm really grateful you took the time to be here, and welcome to the Sacred Designer.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, how would you define money through the somatic lens? And I'm just going to pause there because the word somatic, I think, is really, to newbies who don't really understand what somatic means. Is there any way you can kind of describe what somatic means before you jump into that question?
So yeah, somatic means that I feel the connection with money through my body.
Okay.
Because the money is the energy, and everything that is energy is felt through the body. And it's a big, large deal thing in our lives, So it's just that we can feel it in our bodies, what kind of relationship we have. For example, tension or softness.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people do feel tension.
I even find that some people's behavior shifts dramatically when there's a lack or abundance of. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be ready to receive a lot of money. This is how it feels in the body when we think about money. It's like how much I can hold of the money that will come through without being tense, how much I can lose and still feel safe about it, So a lot of people are really disconnected from their bodies. It's causing a lot of issues. And the main one is to being stuck in the head, and a lot of decisions are made through like this level, but everything that happens in our bodies is beyond here and it goes down. And the most that we can feel is the chest area with the heart space, and then there's a stomach, which is our consciousness space.
Yeah.
So if we manage to connect to that, we can actually understand if we're ready to receive the money, the bigger amounts of money, because I've met so many people saying, oh, I want to double or triple income. And at the same time, when we go through practices and questions, we discover that a person actually does not want more money. There's something beyond money that they want.
Yes.
And they relate, that it's like everything in this world has its own place and has its own purpose. So when we put in our money, like, I want to feel safe, that's why I want more money. That's not going to work long term, because safety is safety, money is money. It's like safety is a feeling and money is the tool. That's all.
Yeah.
And we try to put money into the space that it doesn't belong.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of somatics in relationship with the money.
Definitely. Yeah, I've heard the term that you have to widen your vessel to prepare yourself for that. What does that mean to you? Have you heard that term? Do you resonate with that or?
It's widening the capacity to receive. If you look at the phenomenon when people win lotteries and they're like on a basic income and they win lotteries, what happens? To majority of them, what happens? They lose all the money and they even go more deep into debts and stuff. This is capacity. This is like you have to be ready to receive any amount of money. Because if you don't have a capacity, that what happens, that you receive the money and then you sabotage somehow that money by overspending, because you can't hold it. Because to be able to hold, you need to be able to hold in your body first.
Yeah. Makes sense. When did you first realize that these money patterns and, that they live in the nervous system and not just the mind necessarily?
Well, I've just watched so many people, very smart people, very capable people, trying strategies, cash flows, tables, mindset, but for some reason it doesn't work. For me, it was a very clear sign when I was working with people who are saying, oh, I'm so grateful, and I have a gratefulness diary, and I'm like so grateful for money and for everything. And when I ask them how they feel when they write, for example, gratefulness, I was like, well, no, I don't think I feel anything. Well, that's a problem.
Yeah, definitely. There's a little bit of a disconnect there.
A little bit, yes. So when we doing any kind of work with mindset or strategies, it still has to land in the body. If it doesn't, it's just a shortcut that might bring you overwhelm, overspend, and I don't know, undercharging, for example, for your own services, which is very often as well. So yeah, it matters that you're connected and you actually go through your nervous system first and then receive. Especially nowadays, the time is so completely different. Our earth landed into completely different energies, vibrations, and whatever worked before now, which was leadership, pushing, pulling, I'm gonna work hard and more and more and more. That's not gonna work at all. It's not. Some people will learn this in a difficult way. But if you're open and you actually start slowing down and actually look into that the money is not something you chase. You look, what is your purpose here? What is your purpose? What you can give and how many people you can serve with what you are and who you are. And then money will flow so much easier. And I absolutely get it. People don't understand it and they can't believe it because we just now locked into old patterns, old energies, and it's difficult for a lot of people. It's just a complete nonsense. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't exist, right?
yeah, but the thing is that it's gonna start with a completely different setup, which is gonna start if you're gonna slow down as a person, if you're gonna slow down, if you find this different pace and different reality for you to coexist with your own money, then you will win.
Absolutely. It sounds like you have to kind of find what feels safe.
Well, safety is a thing that, we can't be guaranteed safety. We cannot, but the problem is that a lot of people are acting and behaving on their ancestral trauma, which, our ancestors, they lived in a completely different life. I mean, completely different times when they had to survive, when having money meant danger, when having money, because our ancestors, if they had money, they would lose their lives. They could lose the wealth. They could be, killed or even in jail, because not everybody was allowed to have money. And for if it happens, that could be taken away. And that was our ancestors as well. They had tough times where they actually had to survive and do everything to survive. And we learned this pattern that we actually force ourselves live constantly on survival mode, so safety is not that it's guaranteed now, but you have to understand what safety is for you, because for everybody could be different. It's not the same thing. We can talk about cases that works for majority, but the thing is that it's always smart and wise to look what safety is for me and to actually name it. What is it? Maybe it's a house. Maybe it's a specific room in my home, at my home, where I feel safe. And maybe I can, decorate that room in a specific color that makes me feel grounded, calm, where I can make decisions from a different nervous system, you know what I mean. I'm sure
Absolutely.
you do.
Yeah. No, oh, for sure. No, yeah, definitely colors make a big deal, but that makes a lot of sense. But that's interesting that you brought that up, that, like it is an ancestral thing. And, I had never thought of that before. But, that sounds like a survival pattern and that
Yeah.
shows up. And what type of financial choices and like habits do people make when that shows up? Because that's almost flight or fight. Like it sounds kind of scary to me now that I think about it, but it makes so much sense that it is a survival thing that now that you have this.
Yeah, it is. For most of the people, that's the biggest problem. So if they're acting from survival mode, they would tend to overspend,
Mm,
just to soothe themselves, because the
mhm,
emotions go down, because I don't want to deal with my emotions. It's easier to overspend.
mhm.
Overworking, which a lot of the cases it is. If
Yeah.
I do so many things, so many hours in the office, I feel worthy and I
Yeah.
matter. I'm important, you know? Undercharging again for your own services. So I could stay connected with other people, except myself.
Yeah.
Avoiding looking at the numbers, as well as my majority's case, people don't know their numbers. When I work with clients as well, when I ask them, what are your expenses? Where is your money going to? I don't know, normal things like everybody. I said, well, everybody, it's different story.
Absolutely. And like
There's
when
a
it comes to the capacity, like when like that vessel is too stretched, do you feel like those responses are the same?
No, they're not. If we expand our capacity, then we feel safer in our own skin as well, because it's very much related to sense of safety, and it's a lot of relation to self-worth. So if I expand my capacity, for capacity expansions, I have to go in my inner world and notice my states. I have to notice what I feel around money. Oh, we're talking about money, but it works for every single bit. I have to notice, I have to be very open to see it. A lot of people don't know how to notice it. They don't know. They actually need to learn to land in their bodies and trust it, because
Okay.
body
Yep.
never lies. Okay. So if we land in our bodies and we focus there and we notice how we feel, for example, I want to double my income, right? Then I have to go in my body. I always recommend to work with the stomach area because this is our consciousness center, and it tells a lot. So I gotta drop into my stomach and then think about double income. And usually what people tend to do on a surface, oh, I just want it, it feels good, but they don't notice micro movements, what happens in the body. So it's important to notice because we are very big experts to lie to ourselves just to sustain this illusion that we created to ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
So if we manage to find this, oh, I feel something uncomfortable, with doubling my income, what it could be. And then we have to find that reason and then kind of filter it through the same consciousness center. And then we grow this capacity. And when the capacity grows, then we can create a completely different kind of relationship with money. That means we would stop overspending whatever pattern that we were carrying before connecting to capacity. We would be able to drop that because we would have more understanding of why and what I feel.
Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that does make a lot of sense. I feel like, being able to listen to your body and um, in your surroundings, I feel like really affect you had just mentioned that earlier. And, I often say that kitchens and baths, is where your nervous system kind of lives on a day to day. But from your perspective, you had mentioned like, creating a space, because I do feel like your environments mirror your internal safety. Do you think there's any other additional things that you would recommend in terms of, like how to create a supportive space, or what else does that look like for you?
For me, it looks like really, again, being able to listen to yourself and actually admit your needs, first of all,
Yep.
for environment, because environment has a massive effect on how we live day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not some kind of, far away stories that environment matters. Environment really matters. So when we change environment, look, when people start traveling and they change environment, what happens? They unleash some kind of realizations and they unleash, I don't know, some kind of emotions, or they start getting wonderful ideas about something and they change jobs and, I don't know, break rules in relationship and etc. So the same thing does when we actually change the space where we live in. I've seen so many people living again on survival, like, oh, this is just enough. We just got to pull it through. That's the attitude. But the
Mm.
thing is that if we invest into our spaces, we can unleash other parts of ourselves when we feel safe in where we live and we actually um, select the space carefully to our needs, then we can be more creative. For example, high ceilings is a fact, is it's helping us to be more creative. For me, it was living near the water. It just does absolute magic. I have to see the water through my window. Then my emotions are regulated much easier. I notice that effect, and that's how I live. And it's important to me. So every person has to understand what is it that makes them feel completely complete in their
Yes.
state. It matters. It brings a lot of it could bring a lot of creativity, it could bring a lot of relaxation, it could bring a lot of grounding to the nervous system. And from that, when our body is calm and we are able to manage the stress, we can make absolutely different kind of decisions. If you look at the spaces when people, you come into their home and you can see, for example, it's just everything all over the place. That is just a mirror of internal world. And I know that a lot of women will agree, whenever they clean and they have a clean home, they just feel like that's this is exactly what I need. I feel so much better after cleaning. Like I offloaded some kind of emotional load and I feel happier with that. Well, it's not just cleaning, there's a lot of sense of doing this because we feel much better. For example, if there are people who have very minimalistic homes and it's like sterile. So that talks about as well about people and their control mode a lot. Could be, I'm trying to control my environment, and as well I'm trying to control not only environment but my whole life and everything, and control is kind of an illusion.
Yeah, because I do feel like, yes, that I totally agree. Like when it comes to like decluttering and all of the things that it does, allow you to calm down. But I have seen people take it to the next level where the cleaning is just a kind of a control mechanism to allow themselves to feel better. And then, so that can be taken to an extreme, but absolutely to the effect where it will affect your patterns and as you are saying, your money patterns. And that's how your home and your spaces can really affect that stability, which, because that was kind of my next question. So it kind of sounds like what a regulated environment would be to you is something that is, which has a place and is the correct colors and is the correct cleanliness. Would you say that, is there any other things that would allow for a regulated, environment for your body?
Well, if you feel at your home like you can breathe, and if you feel that there's space for me not only to survive and push through, but actually to create my life, that it might be the right place for you. But if you have any slightest tension around the home, something is annoying. I don't know. For example, I like Marie Kondo method, with that every single thing at your home has to bring you joy. And I follow this for many years now, including Vastu system at home. And it's just so much sense in that. I just love it. It just, every single thing at my home brings me joy. Every single thing. And if, this, like, I do decluttering as well every about 6 months. And this might be something that is just no longer providing a purpose. So I say goodbye to this with gratefulness. But, if we put some kind of system in our homes, how we clean, how we do the setups, then it could bring a lot more than people could even imagine. So yeah, environment does matter.
I mean, that sounds like kind of what we're getting at is the joy, right? Trying to be able to enjoy your life in general. Because when people make that shift and stop trying to control the money, is that when people start listening to their bodies, or like or what's the process of that? I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm, how I'm just double checking. You're asking me if when they lose control, if they lose control, how it feels in a body, right?
So like when shift, like what's the shift that people need to make, to start listening to their body? Or is it about listening to your body first, or is it about making the mindset changes with money, I guess is kind of where I was getting at.
I mean, when we work with mindset, you will still have to add your body at some point. So it doesn't really matter where you start. And for example, if people not aware of their bodies, I wouldn't recommend to start with the body because they just can't understand it. So I would start from mindset work. So because they understand this, because everybody is different. And for example, when I work with people, I always adjust the level of, how we work together, because some people are very in tune with their bodies, and some people are just simply scared of it. So it depends, person to person basis, what we starting from. Sometimes we start from strategy and still incorporate the body later, how we feel about the strategy and etc. So there
Okay.
is no right
So it
starting
really
point.
depends on the person and where they're at.
It
You have to
does.
kind of meet them where they're at. Does that sound like it?
Absolutely. That's
Okay.
what I believe. Yes.
Okay. And so how has your own relationship with money and identity changed through this work?
Oh my God, it changed a lot. I was as well one of those people who's stuck in my head. All the decisions were based on logic, a lot of masculine energy. And when I remember I was working with my feminine energy, it was so scary.
Yeah.
It was so scary. Like, who am I gonna be if I'm no longer controlling and pushing through and, being sharp and just complain and being so awesome? But I discovered an absolutely different kind of awesome when I fell into my feminine energy. It just does really magic. The way I was born and raised, it was different, but it was great to discover that. So my relationship with money changed from everything is in my head and now is everything in my body. And I make decisions only if my body feels right about it. So.
That's lovely. I love that last statement. If someone was trying to make the first start to try to feel more like to feel like they can accept, their relationship with money a little bit better, what would you say is the best place to start? What's a good stepping stone?
Oh, okay. I will tell you this. The basis, the foundation of relationship with money is your relationship with your father.
With your father?
Yes, absolutely. It
Interesting.
does. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you're not worked through that relationship, then you won't be able to work through your money relationship because father is a masculine figure and money is masculine energy as well. So you can't go with, you can't go towards the money if you're going away from your dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So
fair. Oh, that's
yeah.
that's
So
powerful.
I would say everybody should start there.
Okay.
If we're talking about starting point and feeling more, because dealing with relationship with our fathers requires to feel a lot because every single one of us had some kind of reapproaches and unhappy how they behaved and what they did or they didn't do. There are some painful situations that people see it in one light, but it could be completely different thing. But that perspective has to be broad. So your relationship with father is clean, because if it's not, then what happens with money is like going up and down, up and down, up and down, losses. And that's the first sign that you have to fix your relationship with your father. And sometimes people say, I have a good relationship. It doesn't mean that it's good. It's not about communicating, it's about what you actually feel inside for your father.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that because I think a lot of people miss that point right there. That, you might be able to have that conversation, but how does it feel? You know,
Yeah,
acceptance of of certain situations, but also acceptance of how it feels inside is very
absolutely.
different. That's
Absolutely.
beautiful. Did you have any other things that you feel like, people need to hear about, what it is with the type of work that you do or
Well, I wish more people would understand that money is just a tool
Mm,
and money is not the purpose. We're over angry about the money and about people who actually have money. But the truth is, that those people who have money, they doing something right to have them, to hold them, to expand. And some people, yes, they're not very good people, although it depends. Money won't spoil you. A lot of people are afraid, like, oh, I'm gonna have money. Yeah, money is evil. I don't want to have it because then I'm gonna be like somebody I know and I don't like them. So I say, if you're generous already, you will be just more generous. There's nothing to be afraid of. We just money uncovers exactly who you are underneath your skin, what your desires are, and don't be afraid to fail. We can fail, relationship with money. We can be overly ego and overly spending and wanting to kind of show the world I finally can spend and buy something expensive for myself. And then people get lost themselves into showing off. I have money. I was one of them. It was like when I started getting money, it's like I wanted to show the world with designer clothes and everything. Like, oh my God, I can afford it. Finally, look at me. I am some kind of a woman. Like I was a little girl from like little city in Lithuania. And like, look at me. I'm doing so great. Like everybody see me. And that's seeking for approval again from people I don't even know. And then later on, it hit me like, I actually don't care anymore. And that is okay. I needed to go through that process. So I want to say to people, that's okay sometimes to do that, because you need to go through and get it out of your system, that version of who's seeking for approval, who wants to be seen, who wants to prove to herself and everybody that she's spending money and she can earn money and she can afford anything she wants. That's fine. It's just a, let's say, season
Yeah.
that will pass.
Yeah, and I do feel like people have to redefine what success means. Absolutely. And I think that's kind of where you're getting, where
Absolutely.
it might feel like that at the moment, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. Well, do you mind if we do a quick fire round? Have you done a fire round before?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
no, I didn't.
Oh, okay. You haven't, but you're ready to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's one word that feels like safety to you right now?
Body.
Body, okay. Um, so a pattern you see often around money.
Survival mode.
Oh, okay. A cue that will bring regulation.
What, sorry?
A cue, or just like kind of like an indication.
Yeah. Breath work.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
A belief about money you're helping people unlearn.
That they need to suffer and work hard in order to deserve it.
Okay. Feeling, yes, feeling worthy. Okay. A moment when a body says enough.
Well, that one is quite
Complex.
subtle. Subtle. The body says it's enough very early. We just don't hear it. But if we can pay attention, that would be locked jaw. If we can pay attention to the body, locked jaw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A practice that supports self-trust.
Breath work.
A feeling you associate with abundance.
Hmm. Kind of expansion, spaciousness.
Okay.
Sense of spaciousness in the
That feels
body when I
clean,
feel
clear. Yeah.
limitless. Yeah.
hmm A sign someone is coming home to themselves.
Mm. So they land to the body and they stop rushing. They stop rushing like they have to, I don't know. I have to hide because the war is here. A lot of people don't have the situation. Some parts of the world they do, but a lot of the parts of the world they don't have it. And still people live like something bad is going to happen. So when they're coming home to themselves, they actually are capable to slow down properly.
Okay. And one truth you wish people understood about the money.
Mm. Money would follow more safety than effort.
Okay. Okay, that's lovely. Well, Valentina, thank you so much for bringing, the clarity, the compassion, and the depth to this conversation. I love the reminder that money is not, it is not separate from our bodies, kind of in our identities. It's shaped by safety, history, and just really the capacity to hold. And for everyone listening, I hope that this episode has invited you to soften and slow down, as she's saying is important, and to listen more closely to what our body is asking for, not just for money, but for your life. And Valentina, where can my listeners connect with you and learn more about your work?
Instagram.
Instagram, is that the one main place? Okay.
Yeah, it's the
And what's
main
your
place at the
handle
moment.
for everybody to hear?
I am Valentina White.
Okay, beautiful. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Sacred listeners, it's Alyssa Martin. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. But guess what?
we're going to be at school. That's right, SKOOL. There we're going to have a free community where there's all the tools and checklists and things of that nature to help you get your remodel done in alignment. But guess what? We're also going to have the design lounge where you get one-on-one access to me. So go to school, check out the link in the show notes, and check it out.
I'll see you guys next time on Here's the Sacred Designer. Thank you.